today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to do kind of a dare to compare. We're going to compare 3 guitars, but before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, click on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. In this case, we went to zZounds and we said we would like 3 335 style guitars. And we picked 3 and they sent them. We did something recently with a Strats style guitar, HSS. Now we have 3 335 style guitars.
Yeah. And there's something I was supposed to say here. And I totally forget what it was. Why don't we introduce the guitars and hopefully it will come back to me. First one was
the Epiphone 335.
Figured top?
Yes, figured top.
Figured top. Price point?
$799.
$699.
$699.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, I remember what it was now. So all 3 of these guitars we did individual videos on. So if you want to hear them play through a whole bunch of different pedals, we both did a jam in each one of those. There's some clean tones in each one of those. Kind of like a deep dive in each individual guitar. None of the geeky stuff, but what we like about them specifically and looking at some sounds from them. Second guitar in this was an Ibanez Artcore. Pat would have to...
Lots of numbers and things.
Lots, yeah.
Ibanez Artcore Expressionist AS93 FM Semi-Hollow Acoustic Electric Guitar.
Price point, $699.99. All kind of sunbursty, but a little bit different. Right? This is a little darker. Has the figured back on the back, too. So Ibanez was the second guitar. And then the third guitar was... the Larry Carlton H7 from Sire. Price point
$705.
$705. So these are all within what, $6 of each other? So very close price points on them, and 3 335 style guitars. So in this video, we're not ripping everything apart, but we do. The point tonight was for us to sit down and play them all together back to back and try and come up with which one, after doing individual videos on them and then putting them all back to back, could we come up with which one we like? I'm going to tell you, when we did the HHS Strats, we had a Fender Player 2, we had a Sire S7 FM or something, and we had a Yamaha.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yes. Of those 3, I think we both said Sire hands down.
Right. Was
the one that we liked. It's that roasted maple neck or something. So it'll be interesting to see where we land tonight. So do you want to start sound clips? Which you?
Yeah, with the playing of the back to back to back to back of the
and then edited.
Right, in the order. Everything I went from bridge to middle to neck. And I try to play some jazzy style chords because these guitars can play all kinds of style, but some kind of known for jazz. So this is what I did to show you the differences in the sounds of the pickups.
So same thing. All 3 positions, all 3 guitars edited back to back, except I played more of a single note kind of thing just to hear this, like a single note kind of pattern. Here it is.
right, so for this next part, we're going to do a jam. And the beard is going to accompany me on a guitar. And once you're done what you accompany me with, and I'll tell you how we approach this craziness.
You want this first?
Yeah, let's do that first.
All right, so this was the accompanying guitar. This is an Epiphone 339. You can split the pickups. I had it in the neck split. The only modification, you might as well with this, right?
Yeah.
The only modification is the pots have all been replaced with USA 500K
Pots.
Yeah, probably Burns. I forget what they are, but quite an upgrade. Actually, I might have ordered these from. Anyway, quite an upgrade. Original pickups, and this thing. I love this guitar. It sounds great. So I backed you up with this, and I think you played this again.
I did the same thing. I think I had them both split, and I played in the middle.
So.
And then we played everything through the Fender Hot Rod.
Fender Hot Rod. So how did you approach your jam?
For my awkward switching of the guitars, which is, we had them off to the side. I grabbed the Greer Lightspeed. Tried not to use too much drive, as I did in the other video with the other guitars. Tried to have something that's kind of transparent, so I could really kind of have the pickups shine through. DLS Echo Tour and the Tyler. And here's what we played.
So for my jam, Pat backed me up with a 339 through the Fender. You'll be surprised to know that I grabbed the Barber Electronics direct drive, one of the original ones, in the DLS into the Tyler. I should say something about the jams that we're using. These two little chord progressions, I think we use a lot. I think throughout the individual videos, we were using the same thing, maybe even some of the strats. Just we kind of found these jams that we liked and we were sticking with them for a little bit to make life easier on us, maybe. So yeah, anyway, same thing. all three guitars through this. Try to play in the neck for the first part and then switch to the bridge for the second part. And here's what that jam sounded like. So those are the two jams. There's the clips playing through the pickups. That gave us a chance to sit down and play all three guitars tonight. I mean, it was a short little run on each guitar, right. But we got to sit down here and handle them a little bit tonight. So when we did the Strat video, we did kind of a 3, 2, 1, what's your favorite? And we both had the same favorite. So and we haven't disclosed to each other. Like there's no behind the scenes chicanery going on here. No. If we do 3, 2, 1 again, do you just want to say what you think your top one is?
I think so. I'm laughing because I'm gonna sound like Bob Dylan when I give my answer. Right.
So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Sire.
That's what and I want to, before we get into why, I'm going to say this. We were so impressed with the Strat, the HHS Sire, that I wonder if there's a little bias now.
Right.
Like we're trying to be as transparent and honest with this stuff as we can. I do wonder if we were so impressed with that guitar, we came into this thinking, wow, that last Sire was so good. I bet this one will be good too.
It's possible, and I really tried hard not to do that.
I tried hard not to do it too. Do you want to go first?
I guess, yeah, because I'm going to try to meander through these weeds that I tried to come through. So As with the, well, we already kind of said it. The Sire won out in the HSS. And part of that was, my rationale was, I like that guitar pickups the best without any drive, like just clean. Like, where does your bass line start? And these are all very different. And what's unique, so you had the Epiphone, which, you know, honestly, when we did the first video, I didn't love it. I don't want to say I didn't like it. I just didn't love it. We played it again tonight, and I'm like, oh, well, where have you been all my life? And I played it. It sounded sounded much better. I still wasn't wowed by it, right? So that's one thing about that. And then when you look at the Artcore, so basically in some ways you have two signature guitars sitting over there, because you hold it for a second. Because when I looked up the pickups in the Artcore, there's supposed to be 58 recreations of 58 pickups, right? But they're used by George Benson, Pat Metheny, and John Schofield. And at least two of those guys really don't use a lot of drive. So those pickups have a different characteristic to it. They kind of reminded me a little bit of when we did the HSS. The Yamaha was kind of a little bright, real articulate, but harsh. I'm not using the right words, harsh. But then I played the Sire, which is now kind of a Larry Carlton signature, because he's the boss, right? He's the guy who's lent his name to this.
Is it modeled after his guitar?
Yeah, he has a 335, and the pickups there are like custom pickups for him. And so all three of the pickups are very different, but I think I landed in the exact same spot. When I played those clean, I liked them better than the other two. When I played them with drive, I liked different things about different ones. Again, the Ibanez being a little bit more forward and a little tight and bright. It was fine when it took drive. The Epiphone, a little growly at times. It wasn't bad, but I just loved the way the blend of how that sounded. I know that was some immense rambling, because I was trying to figure out how to, explain how I got there. So there, I don't think I've sold any one of these guitars to anybody.
For me, Sire's doing something right with the setup. And this is interesting, because on the three Strats the three HHS Strats we had, the Sire was the worst setup.
Right.
As far as like the action was a little high. Like right out of the box, it could have used a couple adjustments that would have. But you could tell from playing it, like, oh, with those couple adjustments, this thing would only get like better, and it was good.
Right.
It was good, and it would only get better. The way these frets are kind of rounded off, whatever. Like, this guitar feels great to play. So for me, of the three, the one that kind of felt the best might have been the Sire. The one that I've been looking at him hanging in this big open space here for a couple weeks now. And the one that keeps jumping out, even though this would not be my go-to kind of sunburst finish.
More cherry sunburst. Red sunburst.
Yeah, it's really grown on me, so I like the way it looks. Tonight I struggled, because when I plugged in the Epiphone to the direct drive, so we're talking home base for me. The direct drive, analog delay, a Fender style, clean sounding amp. Tyler JT22 is like a mix between a Princeton and a Deluxe. So that's like home base. I felt like all three of them sounded good. Even the Epiphone, and I can't remember why, when 6 weeks ago when we shot that individual video, I was like, man, there's something about these. I think it might have been like clean, the balance between the neck and the bridge. Something seemed a little wonky. Like maybe the bridge wasn't as hot as. Or maybe the neck wasn't as hot as the bridge.
That's what I recall, the bridge being pretty hot, because I did specifically flip to it. Could be pickup height too. Could be.
Yeah. Could be some setup stuff there too.
Right.
But tonight when I played, I was like, this sounds good. Then I plugged in the Ibanez, and I was like, wow, this sounds good. And then I plugged this one. I'm like, well, this sounds good. So I want to go on record and saying, like, I think we both, well, I don't think, I know, we just heard it. We both landed here. I'm not sure that there's, to me, between the HHS guitars we did, I would have kept the Sire, hands down. And the gap between the three was much larger than the gap between the three of these.
Yes. And very similar price points within the differences of the price as well, right? So that was all a wash, right?
Yeah, yes. I felt like that one kind of...
And these were like...
Yeah. So if you're looking, and I know somebody said in one of the comments, they're kind of looking for a 335 style guitar. I have no advice for you as far as which one. Like, I'm not like, oh, go with this one or go with that one. I think look at the colors, look at the styles. I don't think you really could go wrong. I'm not feeling like you could really go wrong.
No.
The thing is that $700 for a 335 style guitar, great price. Right. And all three of these quality, they all look great. They all sound great. I'm pretty excited about these three. I think I would go with the Sire. I think at some point you might find a Sire sitting down here. Now, can I add one other thing? We talk too much. We did the Sire L7, the Les Paul style guitar.
Right.
That was the first Sire we did.
Yeah.
And we did not gush over that.
No,
we liked it.
We didn't compare it to anything else, but even just on a standalone, we were like underwhelmed.
We didn't have like three.
Right.
We liked it. It sounded good. I mean, if you go back and watch the video, I don't think there's anything, you're not going to like, we didn't hate it. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like, man, that Sire was so good, we have to try all the other Sires. Right. The S7 was like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning this way.
Yeah, in an effort to bring you a true response, you got a lot of rambling because we were still processing it as we were like, we're going to go to final thoughts. We're like, oh, great.
I feel like if we spend another half hour with all three, we might switch our minds.
It's possible. Because one other thing, in the format of that jam, in the interest of time and switching the guitars live, you had to settle into the next guitar. Like, I felt like I was jamming the plug in there and being like, where am I starting? What pickup am I on? Like, so, if we stretched our legs a little bit with each one a little bit longer, you're right. We maybe could have gone a different direction because they were so close.
I know I played an Ibanez at Guitar Center. I said this in one of the other videos right before I got my my Gibson 335. And I've never forgotten that guitar. Mm-hmm. Like, it's always stuck with me. Like, I almost bought that, and then that 335 came up, and I'm like, well, no brainer. But that Artcore was really cool. Mm-hmm. And it did that same thing that took me some electronic changes to get the other 335 to do. So, anyway.
And we've had other recent videos about Epiphones, and honestly, Epiphones is doing some pretty nice stuff right now. Well, so it's not that there's anything wrong with this one. It's just how it came out in the comparison.
We've done the Firebird. We've done the Sheraton. We've done. There's a couple other ones. We did the Greenie, the Les Paul Special. Every Epiphone we've had down here has been killer. So I stand by. I don't think you can go wrong. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for if you hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, leave a comment. Anytime you interact with the channel, that's what helps us interact with cool people like zZounds, who's willing to send us 3 guitars of our choosing and let us do what we want with them with no strings attached. And we appreciate that, and hopefully that's what's allowing us to bring cool content to you. So with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of The Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.